All right, we're in the Pine Barrens today. It was clear for most of the day. I'm going to have a slideshow that'll be in a separate video here. We're in the Pine Barrens that are on the northeast corner of Edgewood Preserve. This beautiful, beautiful afternoon. But I'm noticing something a little disturbing here, and I'm a little worried about this. I've seen these blue ribbons all over this area over here. You know, this isn't part of the preserve. And I don't know what these blue ribbons are for. But I'm really worried that they have some plans for this, because this isn't actually part of the preserve. It's owned by the state of New York, but it's under the mental hygiene property that's part of Pilgrim. And I see these blue ribbons everywhere on all the trees, and I don't know what this is about, but I'm a little concerned about it, so that's why I'm taking this video, just to show you. Of course, this is with my phone, so not going to look as good because I don't have my SX280. I'm trying to repair my SX280. I've got it partially apart. I'm trying to repair it because looking at the new camera prices, they are expensive. Yeah, I see these blue ribbons all over the place. There's some down there too. So they're all over. So I don't know what's going on with all these blue ribbons over here, but I'm a little concerned about it. There's another one over here. They're all over the place. What is this? Trash in the woods. I mean, I don't know what this is, but I don't like it one bit. Another one over there. What is this crap? I think this is like some kind of thing for a surveyor, so I'm a little worried that they're surveying this, because you see, this land was supposed to be transferred to Edgewood Preserve, but unfortunately, our lovely governor and the legislature didn't allow that to happen. And their plans to actually possibly put this in as part of an intermodal facility, or maybe that project that they want to build, the Heartland Town Square, which Suffolk County is now trying to stop. Good for Suffolk County. They rejected the sewer connection for them, so that's good. So, here we can talk a little bit about some environmental news. But I mean, this is a beautiful area. Look at these pines here. I'm sorry, if they want to think they're going to destroy this, they're going to have a fight on their hands. Look at this, another freaking blue ribbon. What is with these blue ribbons all over the place? Look at this. How would you feel if you were a tree and somebody put that on you? How would you feel if you were a tree and somebody wrapped that around you? Aren't these pitch pines beautiful? This is a seedling over here. Those seedlings are really beautiful too. You know, it's my job to protect this wilderness, because nobody else seems to want to really take it seriously. You know, these blue ribbons, I don't know what the hell the blue ribbons are for, but I mean, just off the pine trees, you're not supposed to tie something around a tree like that. It's not, I mean, how would you feel if you were a tree and somebody tied a thing around you like that? You wouldn't be very comfortable, you know? Yeah, this phone doesn't do it justice. I know it doesn't. I know it doesn't. You know, we got to preserve this land. We can't have development here. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to stand for it. Oh, there's another one on that tree. They're all over the place. Another one. Another one on that pine tree. All right. How would you feel if you were a tree and somebody did that to you? How would you feel? Let's continue on. There's a lot of them in this area, so I don't know what this is about. But I think they're trying to maybe sneak in a development here. That's my concern. I mean, sometimes they do that to put in a trail, but it doesn't make any sense why they would have it like that. It's okay if you time around that tree because it's bare and there's no needles on it. But pine trees, needles are important, because the needles go through here. The needles are, these are, like leaves on a, deciduous tree. They, all right, we're going to go out that way. They basically take in the light from the sun and And trees take light from the sun and carbon dioxide from the air to create energy. And they emit oxygen. They give us oxygen, which we need to breathe. And when you do that, you're kind of starving the tree, because the needles here catch the sun. This is what the tree uses to get energy. So if you're going to tie stuff like that around the needles, it's going to hurt the tree. Can't do that. I come here all the time, so I'm not going to let a bunch of developers come in here so fast and try to think that they can mess this place up. Alright, let's head on out of here. So I just wanted to show you what was going on in here and why I'm a little concerned. Anyway, we're going to head on out. Keeping an eye out for any more of those blue ribbons. There's another one over there. So I don't know what these blue ribbons are all about. But I don't think it's good. The spot we came from is technically not part of the preserve. It's, like I said, it's supposed to be transferred over, but it's got installed in our lovely state government. And I couldn't agree with this. Couldn't agree with that more. Not that our current president is really that much better. They're all part of that corporate class. And same thing with Cuomo, too, which I mean, because if it affects the environment, I'm going to talk about it. And, unfortunately, when you have corporate Democrats like Cuomo around, and de Blasio, they don't give a rat's ass about the environment. Even though they claim they do. When you take a look at their actions, they say otherwise. When it comes to dragging their feet on land preservation, whether it be refusing to fund public transportation adequately, you see all the cuts that have happened, especially with Nice Bus. I mean, you have lots of people now, a lot of extra cars on the road because of that. That's not good for the environment. That's more carbon emissions into the air. That's not good at all for the environment. You can't have that. So we have to take a stand against these corporate Democrats. They're no good. So here's the substation again. I know the problem you see with the phone is that it crops the video. This is the widest it goes, and it crops the video, so it actually makes it much shakier than it's supposed to be. It crops, it doesn't give you a really good wide angle. That's the problem with these phones. It's a big problem too, and an annoying problem as well. Little seedlings growing here. It was nice to have a nice blue sky today. The Cirrus was pretty much to our south. It's over New Jersey, but not over us. Not that cold today, a little on the warm side, but could walk that way. But the problem with that way, a lot of puddles. So we're gonna walk this way. Then I'll make a left on one of the bike trails. Go through kind of go back the way I came, I guess. See, now we're in the preserve. This part is protected, but the part we were in when we started the video, that's not protected. It was supposed to be protected, but like I said, it keeps getting stalled. That's the problem. It keeps these projects. I mean, these land transfers. This state drags its feet. Well, we have a new state government, and I'm actually encouraged because the state senate. I'm very happy. Some of my friends are not, but having Amazon not come here is a tremendous relief for us. All right. If they would have come here, the effects on the environment would have been detrimental. All right. You would have had a whole lot more people moving here. All right, which means it would have gotten a whole lot more expensive, so more people would have gotten priced out. And we'll go down here. I see somebody coming on their bike, so hang on, I'll have to stop the video. Alright, so having Amazon would have come here, I mean, a lot more people moving into the area, alright, which would have put a real strain on the resources. We have enough people living here as it is. It's on Long Island, right? you would have more crowding. And the worst part of it is that they wanted to give a $3 billion break for Amazon to come here, funded by the taxpayers in New York. $3 billion. $3 billion that could go to purchasing more land, improving public transportation, converting more to green energy. So I'm glad the folks in the state Senate killed it. I am glad that Amazon is not coming. As far as Cuomo, he's upset. De Blasio's upset. The corporate Democrats are crying a river over it. Screw them. All right? I'm glad they're not coming. All right? I'm glad. All right? My number one priority is to protect the environment. All right? And that would have been absolutely terrible for our environment. All right? So, I'm glad it didn't happen. And I'm hoping that this Heartland project, now Suffolk County, as I spoke about a little earlier in this video, has rejected the sewer connection, which pretty much kills the project. And of course, the developer sued Suffolk County over it. Of course. But I hope it's killed. This project doesn't need to. This project isn't needed. That should be. Pilgrim is an important facility for people with mental illness and needs to stay open and operational. And the land around it should be transferred to Edgewood Preserve. It's that simple. No intermodal, no Heartland Town Square. Just let's keep this here, all right? None of that. You know. But you have these people, and I'm using the word corporate now. I'm not even using the word white finance professional because that's just too long of a word. When you talk about these kind of people, you know, like Elisa Pica and people on the Babylon line, a lot of them, good, they're corporate people, all right? And corporate America doesn't care about you and me. They don't care about this nature. All they care about is the green of money, not the green of pines, obviously. So they work against us. And Cuomo, and I'm going to insist it over and over again, that Cuomo is no good for the state, all right? And I think, now Mario Cuomo was a pretty fairly good governor, all right? I think if Mario Cuomo knew what his son Andrew was going to turn out to be, I think he would have had him disowned, all right? The guy is not even progressive, all right? He's corporate. You can't be progressive, you can't call yourself progressive and then be corporate at the same time. It doesn't work that way. So, that's the way I feel about it, you know? So, like I said, I try not to get into politics too much anymore on this channel, but, you know, I don't want to, but when you talk about things like the environment and the Pine Barrens and the difficulty it is to try to get, you know, a little more land preserved, you know, it gets caught up. The politics is all part of that, unfortunately, you know. But there have been some real good changes in New York, with definitely, and I'm actually glad to see the direction that are starting to turn against Cuomo. Our legislature is turning against Cuomo, and I couldn't be happier. So look at these beautiful pines here. Isn't that amazing? Alright, getting back to our video here. Beautiful spot here. It's a little bit short pitch pines. But our Pine Barrens is suffering because we've allowed so much development now that the natural cycles of the Pine Barrens, namely fire, is not being allowed to happen. You know, fires are important. And I explain this to my viewers over and over again because a lot of people, you know, in the media makes fire out to be a bad thing. And in a lot of other forests it is. Even ponderosa pines, they can only take very light intensity fires. They're not like pitch pines at all. You know, the ones you see in Flagstaff. Whereas pitch pines, they can take a medium intensity fire. And, you know, when you have a fire, ponderosa pines don't do this. You have epicormic growth there on the trunks of the tree, which is very beautiful. Alright, again, that's why pitch pines are my favorite pine. Most beautiful pine, and also one of the most resilient pines. But even pitch pines need to have their natural cycles, and fire is part of that. And so they don't want to do controlled burns, and as a result, look at all this brush you have here. Right? And they don't want to do controlled burns because of all the development around. They're worried, well, what happens if it gets out of hand and it could hurt the development? We don't want the development getting involved in a fire. What's going to happen, though, and it's really short-sighted is eventually there'll just be an uncontrolled fire. And those are the damaging fires that cause a lot of problems. You know, I mean, New Jersey have an excellent forestry service. They do excellent things there. They always make sure that the forests are healthy. They're keeping the fire cycles, you know. But we have come in here on Long Island and stopped those fire cycles that have been happening. As far as those fires and people are like, oh, they were started by man. Actually, not really, because before man even arrived here on Long Island, the Pine Barrens were still here. So what caused the fires? Well, the fires were started a lot by lightning. Dry thunderstorms, or thunderstorms that you get, I mean, due to climate change, we don't get those kind of thunderstorms as much anymore. But the thunderstorms that basically don't produce a whole lot of rain, but produce a lot of lightning. And that lightning, sometimes maybe the ground's a little wet, but it starts a fire, and then after that thunderstorm moves through, maybe the next day is very dry and windy, and that's how the fire started, naturally. Alright, and then after that, yes, we had the Native Americans. They also, started them. But fire has always been part of the Pine Barrens. And then, of course, later on, the trains, the railroads, when they came through, you had the fires that were started by them. The old steam locomotives, the ash coming out. So, am I on the right trail here? I think I am. So, the point is that fire has always been part of the Pine Barrens. You can't take fire away and expect the Pine Barrens to be healthy. They need fire. Pitch pines need fire to reproduce, to survive, to keep out the invasive species, to keep out the brush, to keep out the beetles, all those things. And that's why, even though it's hotter in New Jersey, they don't have the same kind of problems with the southern pine beetles, because they have a lot more fires, controlled burns that they do. And sometimes they have uncontrolled fires too, wildfires. But you know what? They let them burn. They let them burn because they have the forest to set up their fire breaks. So the fire can't really spread to a developed area. I don't know what the hell that was. It's kind of loud. But anyway, really not a problem at the substation that we just passed. But alright, we gotta make a right here. And then they got these trees blocking the trail, which is ridiculous. But unfortunately, on Long Island, like I said, we haven't preserved enough of the Pine Barrens, and so the parts that do remain are small and always surrounded by development, so the fires aren't allowed to happen. And so this is a big problem, and it needs a solution. It needs a solution, and the best solution that I have is we need to do the controlled burns anyway. All right, and we need to preserve what's left. We can't be knocking down any more woods. We need a moratorium on the destruction of natural areas on Long Island. You could pass a law in Nassau and Suffolk County that says any natural area that is an area that has been left undisturbed for more than, I would say, 15 years shall not be infringed upon. All right, that's it. And if anyone who violates that law, they'll go to jail. All right. If you're developing, you come in and you illegally knock down trees, 5 years in jail. All right. Maybe then they think twice. It's too bad. See, if this brush wasn't here, I don't know if you could see. Right over there is a beautiful witch's broom on that pitch pine over there. It's a beautiful witch's broom. Now, witch's brooms are like these tufts that develop on the... They could be anywhere on a pine. They could be up and high, or they could be down low. I love those, though. They're great. I know the video on this phone is terrible. Look, I know maybe some of you don't think it's bad. I think it's bad for a nature video. It's good for casual video, but if you want to do a Pine Barrens video, it's not good. I was looking, I really want to replace my SX280 with an SX270, or an SX730. Did I just say 270? I mean SX720 or SX730. But the problem is that they're very expensive, both of those cameras. I mean, the 730 isn't that much different than the 720 because the only addition the 730 has is a articulated screen. But it's also a touch screen, which I don't like on a camera, so I almost prefer the 720. You think, oh, it's an older model. It's actually 2 generations old because they just came out with the SX740, which can shoot 4K video, which I'm not doing, never. All right, people like to shoot 4K video. They like to do 60 frames a second, which my computer can't handle that in HD. So I'm not doing that anyway. So I'll be perfectly happy if I could get the SX720. But the problem is, back in the days, when they used to have, come on the new model camera, they'd heavily discount the old model, but they don't do that anymore. So they get greedy. Why? Because Wall Street wants them to be that greedy. All Wall Street cares about is profits. So they go to Canon and their shareholders. Canon's like, you can't do this. It's going to cut into profits. We want to see more profits. It's never enough profits for them. And they're very happy with what's going on. The stock market keeps going up and up and up and up. Yeah, I've never liked corporations. All right? Let me make that clear. Since I could never stand that culture. All right? It's just greed. It's selfishness. It's intimidation. And it's not something we need in America anymore, right? And that's why I support the Green New Deal. And of course, the corporate America hates the Green New Deal. Of course they hate it. And Nancy Pelosi is pretty much not going to let it come to a vote because she's a corporate Democrat. Like I said, corporate Democrats stink, all right? The kind of Democrats I like are truly progressive Democrats. People like Bernie Sanders, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also happens to be extremely beautiful. She's my type, all right? But anyway, those are the kind of Democrats I like. Truly progressive Democrats that are looking out for the people and not for the corporations. All right? Cuomo, all he cares about is the corporations. $3 billion he wanted to give to Amazon. $3 billion. That could have been gone to land preservation. That could have gone to public transportation, stopping this fare hike at the MTA, but it didn't. And he wanted to give it away to Amazon, one of the richest companies in the world. Like, they need $3 billion. No. That's not the way it works. And they want to raise fares and cut service. I mean, this is totally the wrong direction. We need to be improving public transportation. So I want to talk about some of my ideas for the environment as we do this walk back. In New York State. What does New York State need to do to save the planet and help get people back on mass transit? Well, first of all, there shouldn't be an fare hike at the MTA. That's number one. No fare hike. If anything, you need to look at getting the fares down. All right? How do you do that? How do you raise the money for that? Well, first of all, we look at the MTAs and the inefficiencies there. All right? There are some inefficiencies. But I think we also need a better way of funding the MTA. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is through heavy taxation of consumption. All right? So people who consume a lot, particularly the corporate class, they usually like to drive their huge SUVs, have luxury cars. Well, they should have to pay a lot more taxes. All right? You tax the consumption. All right? So if somebody wants to get a Mercedes SUV, for instance, all right, $500 annual fee to drive that vehicle. All right, for anyone who wants to drive it. All right, it's a gas guzzler. You're gonna eat on top of it. You're gonna have a luxury car tax and a gas guzzler tax, 2 separate taxes. All right, luxury car tax, $250 annual fee. Anyone who drives a luxury car, whether you own it or you lease it. All right, and then the other thing, $250 gas guzzler tax. All right. The only cars that would be exempt from these fees would be hybrids and all-electric vehicles. So even if it's a luxury car, if it's a hybrid or it's electric, you wouldn't have to pay the fee. All right? All right, so that way you're rewarding people who are trying to do the right thing for the planet, all right? So that would raise a lot of money for the MTA. Cuomo's threatened, well, if you don't get congestion pricing, there's going to be, it's going to be a 30% fare hike, all right? Now, traffic is a huge problem in New York City. We need to do something about it, all right? There are too many private automobiles driving into the city, all right? But it should only be people who aren't carpooling, driving in by themselves, who otherwise have the availability and choice of mass transit. Those are the people that should have to pay the fee, all right? For everybody else, truck drivers particularly, delivery men, they have no choice. You're not going to deliver stuff on the subway. They shouldn't have to pay a congestion pricing fee, all right? That's ridiculous, all right? Then we move on to land preservation, all right? So these things will raise money to the MTA. So what do? We improve MTA services, all right? We improve transportation. We improve the Long Island Railroad, first of all, by making sure you have more frequent service, all right, particularly here on the Ronkonkoma line. You definitely got to make it more reliable, and that means getting rid of Elisa Pica and all her corporate hacks, her and her corporate friends. As far as the buses go, regional bus needs to be back on the table. Nice Bus, the MTA needs to come back and take over Nice Bus. Nice Bus is carrying a third of the ridership that Long Island Bus carried. Think of all those extra cars on the road now. And the traffic is a lot worse since Nassau County, since Nice Bus took over, all right? So think about all the traffic, all right? So MTA needs to come back and restore the level of service we had prior to Nice Bus. That means all those routes that were cut need to come back. The N50, the N51, the 45, all the service that was cut. It needs to be restored completely the way it was, all right? Everything nice that needs to be undone. All right, that's going to get riders back on the system, but it's going to take a campaign, very much like what the MTA had to do in the 80s to get people back on the subway. We're coming back, so you come back. Well, the same thing is going to have to be done for Nassau's buses. As far as Suffolk goes, I think in the end, MTA should come out here too and take over. I think MTA should run everything downstate. And eventually, maybe we have a statewide transportation system like New Jersey has, all right? Because even if you want to go to Albany, there's no public transportation option if you want to go to Albany. There should be, right? There should be a public transportation option, but there isn't. You have to take Coach USA or Amtrak. They're all rip-offs, all right? Private companies. You can't have private companies running public transportation. That's just not acceptable. You can't have that. Yeah, look at these shapes here. Just stop for a minute and look. All right, so we improve public transportation. What are we going to do about the environment? Well, I just said we need a moratorium on development in the state. Any natural area, particularly on Long Island, I would just pass it for Long Island right now. Like I said, any natural area must be preserved, all right? And we need to raise the money to buy what's left and turn it into preserves, right? There's still a lot of spots on Long Island that we need to preserve. A lot. I'll name a few. That area that we were in just before, but even more importantly, the Quag Hills, where they want to build that huge luxury golf course, EBCAL. There's at least maybe 10,000 acres that still need to be added to our preserves here on Long Island. Like I said, New Jersey has a very strict regulations on development in their Pinelands area. We don't. We need to look at what New Jersey is doing and do that here. Is New Jersey perfect? No. New Jersey has some problems too with overdevelopment in parts of their state, around the Pine Barrens. They do, but it's not as bad as what we're facing here on Long Island. Look at these shapes here. I know this phone does not do it justice, but so we need to do all these things. So that's why I wanted to make this video, because I wanted to talk to you about some of my ideas that the state needs to head in and what our state legislature needs to do. Cuomo's not going to do it. Forget about him. All right? He is a corporate Democrat, and he's very upset that his little sweetheart deal for Jeff Bezos has fall through. And Bill de Blasio, so-called progressive, supported it too. Guy calls himself a progressive, yet he has done more to hurt minorities and low-income people in New York City. He's done more than any other mayor. He's done more harm to that group, right? Because he's a corporate class too. All right. So something has to be done about this. So, like I said, all these corporate Democrats, people may be finally starting to wake up about them. Cuomo's rating is an all-time low. People are finally starting to wake up. It's too bad now we're stuck with him for 4 more years. Because people think, oh, well, if I vote for them, then I'm voting against Trump. But no, you're not. They were all on it together. Trump and Cuomo, they're really good friends. They've actually supported each other in the past quite a bit. Same thing even goes for Hillary. So, think again. Think again. And I hate seeing that litter. I hate seeing that litter. Alright. As far as the other stuff that I'm talking about, this just has to do with the environment. So, unfortunately, politics and the environment, does have to involve the environment. Or should I say the environment has to involve politics? It's just an unavoidable thing, But anyway, those are some of my ideas and the way I feel New York needs to head in the direction. The other thing that you'll notice is that I no longer have visible ratings on my videos. And that is because of the Intimidator Club. We'll just call them the Intimidator Club. That constantly want to just vote down my videos because they're trying to intimidate me. They want me to leave YouTube. They want me to shut my channel down. That's what they want. Yeah, thought about it. But then every time they go and start attacking my videos, I'm like, no, why should I give in to them? No, I don't think so. That's not the way it works. They're trying to keep me quiet because they don't want an alternative voice. They want the corporate voice, the corporate Kool-Aid that you hear on the news. That's all they want you to hear. They don't want you to hear the alternative opinion. Well, it's too bad, haters. It's too bad. A little snow left there, right? Still a little bit of that left. That little bit of snow we got, well, really it was sleet. Took forever to melt. Finally, I think it's melted, but it really took forever to melt. That was kind of ridiculous. I know I really want to do something about this camera situation, but I don't know how I'm gonna find the money to get another camera at this point. That was the only camera I had that did HD and 30 frames a second. That was the only one. It's the only one. So, this is the burn area that occurred in that wildfire that happened. And see, this area has not really come back that well because, again, this was... Actually, it did sort of, but there were a lot of pines that were unfortunately destroyed in that fire. In this particular spot, because it got very hot. If it's a really high-intensity fire, not even pitch pines can survive. But pitch pines generally can survive higher intensity fires. But again, a destructive wildfire is not good for the Pine Barrens. You need to have regular fire cycles. And because there hadn't been a fire here in such a long time, this is what happens. But you do have some nice mature pitch pines over there. Really beautiful ones. Big beauties, I like to call them. But I'll still do the slide. I'm going to have a slideshow. It'll be a separate video from this one. I could have gone further out east, but I did that last weekend. I wasn't sure if it was going to be clear today because with that bank of cirrus off to the south. Well, I see the moon over there. You can't see it, but I see it. If I had the SX280, I'd be able to zoom in on that moon. I don't. But I like the SX720 because I think that one, I'm pretty impressed with the image quality I've seen from it. It also has longer zoom, so it goes out. The SX720 went out to, the SX280 went out to 20 times. This other one goes out to 40 times. And most important of all, it doesn't have that battery issue. The 280, part of the reason I was able to get it at a real discount is because it's got a bug on it, in it. Where basically, if you take video for more than a couple of minutes, the battery light will flash. So, that's why. These beauties. It's so nice to see the sun be outside. Oh, and I was really glad today turned out to be clear, so I could get back into the Pine Barrens. I'd like to go back to New Jersey, but you'll see when I get in a more open area, there's a cloud bank off to the south. It's been over Jersey, Cirrus Bank. because of the stall front, unfortunately. So one of these days we'll get back to Jersey. But this is a very beautiful place too. Very beautiful. Walk through the pines. I'm going exactly the way I went back here. Went through this little desert-like area here. It's beautiful. I'm sorry if so many other people. I did see some people mountain biking though, but I'm sorry if most people can't appreciate this beauty. It's their loss. It really is their loss. This is incredible over here. These shapes are just magnificent. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video right here, so thank you for watching. And again, I'll have another video for you with, a slideshow of the pictures I took today. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching. And like I said, I got to try to keep doing my best to speak up for the pines, because they're just not enough. There's hardly any voices out there to protect these beautiful, beautiful woods. So I have to keep doing this. All right, this is the main thing I do. But again, the transit-related stuff, you know who to tune into that. Not me, but you can tune into Matt Camper, Andy's Randomness, Kevin from MTA Prodigy, and Passengers United, as well as M-Radom. They're all involved in it, so I appreciate it. But my main cause is about the environment and being a voice for these beautiful trees. Take care. Oh, and how could I forget? Remember what it's all about. It's all about those great shapes.